anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. We now state emphatically it's happy anniversary. Not another day could be a happy anniversary. Oh, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy, 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 happy anniversary.
All right, knock it off.
Welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is our special anniversary issue or broadcast. The band is back together. Tony, Carly, hello.
Hey Nick, how are you?
We get a lot of feedback from people saying, when are you guys are going to all get together? We had to kind of force this one a little bit. Our busy schedules just makes it difficult, but this is the special anniversary podcast and now video. So this is going to go live on YouTube as well. So congratulations, Tony, Carly.
I can't believe it's been a year.
I know.
Awesome work, Nick.
I remember exactly. I had to go through the list to see when the year was, and it's hard to believe. We're actually on our 60th. This will be like the 61st or 62nd episode because there were weeks where we doubled up, where we had so many interviews. We got to double up. That was, that was pretty special this year. So I want to start off this particular anniversary special by going to Carly and Tony and asking about 2017, not necessarily just the podcast, but insurance nerds, INS nerds, the blog, everything. Year in review. What did you guys think of 2017 and what we did? Carly.
I think 2017 was a great year. Obviously, we had our first book published our first book, which was very exciting. Our audience has grown, which is fantastic. And I feel like we're getting really interesting submissions from our guest authors. And I'm excited to continue developing those guest authors and keep working with them to bring interesting content.
Yeah, thank you to the guest authors. I mean, phenomenal content. Year. People with really disparate backgrounds, and coming in and teaching us. Production, agency, claims, hurricane deductibles today. I mean, just really top quality material. Tony, what did you think? 2017.
So first of all, the band's never separated. We keep in touch pretty much daily or more than daily.
We're not the Eagles.
Exactly.
We actually like each other.
Not a reunion tour. Yeah, we're all in good standing here.
Exactly. We literally keep in touch every day and we work together every day. It's just hard to make time to show up. I Scout's honor. I was never a Scout, but Scout's honor. I'm going to be on the podcast more often. That's my goal this year. And by the way, Carly is showing up on my screen instead of myself. That's kind of weird. I thought that whoever's talking shows up on the screen. Anyway, 2017 in review. 2017 was an incredible year. It was the breakout year for insurance nerds. What I learned in 2017 is that when something looks like a sudden success, somebody worked hard for 3 to 5 years to make it happen, and just after that time, you see the results. We just really went viral. We had growth of 300 to 400% on every measure, and I think it was a combination of the book and especially the podcast. Like Carly said, Nick, you've been killing it on the podcast. And truly, it is truly Nick. He does 99.5% of the work on the podcast. Carly and I show up every once in a while. So it was just an amazing year for insurance nerds. And 2018 is looking to be even better, which is just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, first, let's clear it up for the audience. We've been known as INS nerds for so long, but INS nerds was really shorthand for insurance nerds. So we took the tact of, hey, we're insurance nerds. We're proud of that. So we're going to be calling ourselves that, and you may see a change to the website and things like that. But when it comes to the podcast itself, I've enjoyed doing it. I've especially enjoyed interacting with the guests. I learned that podcasting is really difficult, especially when you do it by yourself. So I'm going to try to get some of the other guests that we've had on the show that do podcasts to have a show just where we talk about podcasts, not necessarily insurance itself, but you have to secure guests. You have to arrange schedules. You have to come up with an agenda. You have to interview them. It's really hard to be sharp when you show up 5 minutes before a podcast and just try to read an agenda. It's not the same as when you're like really into it. And then you have to edit that audio file and also get it up online. It's a lot of work. It was a part-time job. I enjoyed it, and I'm liking it even more. We got some great ones lined up. So speaking of podcasts for 2017, Carly, which one was your favorite?
I was looking through all of the lists in iTunes of what we have posted, and I have to say my favorites were the ones with Will Castrol, the gentleman who wrote our article on hurricane deductibles today. I thought it gave a great perspective on what it's like to be an agent, and certainly reinforced everything that I think is important about insurance. He really explained how much he does for his community and painted that picture in a very clear light. So I loved listening to those. It reminded me of my time in the agency.
Yeah, Will's great. Will, if you're listening to this, I'll send you a note. I will be back in Florida for next week for 2 weeks. So let's get together. Let's do another podcast. Tony, which one was your favorite?
For me, it was Brian Falchuk's first appearance. It was just a really fun one, and towards the end, his talk about what the carriers, his very honest perspective on what the carriers need to do differently when it comes to culture was amazing. And then it was really funny. So we finished recording. Most people don't know this, but we finished recording, and about 5 minutes later, Brian realized that him and I lived in literally the same apartment building, just a few doors down from each other. And he sent me an email when he realized this, and literally we were neighbors. We're not anymore, but we were neighbors. And we became, we went to dinner the next week and kind of became good friends. And now, since we're both into public speaking, we've been getting each other speaking gigs, and now we've made like 3 conference appearances together. What a great guy. And that was just a great episode. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I like that one too. I don't have a favorite. They're all like children to me. Even the ones that I thought did not go very well, it's almost like I have more sympathy for those. So they're like bastard child or something. I kind of like those as well. So I don't have any favorite ones. So let me step off the podcast ones. Was there anything unique in 2017 about the blog or the site that kind of stood out? We'll start with Tony.
We had a lot of articles that were just fantastic. And then we kind of brought in our first few advertising partners, which is something we had talked about. We knew that eventually we had to do it, and all of a sudden we finally did it. And now we have Eastern Kentucky University, and recently we have Verisk. And those relationships are really allowing us to do really cool things. And then a lot of people don't know this, but I ran the IT side of the house here at Insurance Sense for a long time, and I like to say that it was built with duct tapes and dreams, and it truly kind of was duct taped together. And I'm not an IT guy at all. I'm not an IT guy, and it came to a point where one day the whole thing crashed, and Carly and Nick were probably sleeping at the time. I didn't tell them right away. I had to bring in outside help. And now I am not the person running now we have an expert actually running the IT side. of insurance nerds, and so it was a huge year for the website, including the big crash of 2017.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I mean, I remember it, but I don't remember the drama. I think it was more drama for you two because you guys were so intimately involved in the website, and I felt like I was I was outside of your bubble when it came to the website, simply because I just sort of passed along Google Docs to you guys to publish. You guys took care of the site. Site's down. You guys take care of it. So, yeah, no, those were good comments. Yeah.
So I remember being dramatic, but also that means we're growing again. So even though it was frustrating at the time, it was a big deal. We had so much traffic that the site couldn't handle it. So we can be grateful that we had some connections and we were able to work it out quickly and get back up quickly. So
correct, exactly.
I think that's the takeaway.
We got so popular that we were just not built to be that popular, and yeah, the whole thing came down, and I couldn't get it up myself.
A huge surprise. The other thing that I've loved about 2017 that I'm surprised Tony didn't mention is the meetups that we hosted. The first one, I got to meet Nick in person for the first time, which was fantastic. And then we've had great success at getting other insurance professionals together in a couple different cities. We're hosting our next one in a couple weeks in San Antonio. And one of our repeat guests from the podcast, Rob Galbraith, will be there with us. He's one of my favorite people in insurance, so I'm very excited to make a trip down there and hang out with everyone and make some new connections in San Antonio as well.
The meetups have been so cool, and the coolest thing about the meetups is that I keep getting messages of people asking us to come to their city, and we can only do like 4 a year in different cities. And not only that, but some of the cities that we've hit have continued meeting. Just today, I went to the fourth edition of the meetup here in Columbus. The group has kept meeting without us, and I think that's fantastic. I think that is so cool that we've helped them feel a need for a relaxed networking environment for insurance professionals.
Yeah,
and I hope that keeps happening throughout.
Yeah, so we did Philadelphia, right? We did in quarter two, or was it quarter three?
So Philadelphia was 2, Columbus was kind of 3, 4.
Right. And now we have San Antonio. And I think we just decided that New York City would be quarter 2 in early summer or late spring. We haven't pegged the time. So New York, we're coming.
New
York, we're coming. Okay, well, that was 2017. Great year. It was a very good year. It was my first year with you two. The difference between the end of the year and the beginning of the year was night and day. So just amazing. I can already see that there's been another leap in quarter 1 for 2018. So let's talk about 2018. Carly, what are you excited about? What can you tell the audience of, not only what you're excited about, but what's coming up on the horizon that you're really thrilled about?
I have actually kind of coming off your comment about 2017 and the growth that we've experienced. I've been working with a graphic designer on a small project that you'll all see shortly. And he is not in the insurance world at all, but he commented, "Wow, you've grown since I worked with you last time." He did our logo for us, and so even he noticed, is my point there. But I am most excited about the project that has been taking up most of my time, of the time that I devote to Insurance Nerds. So it is a very exciting book. It's going to be our second one that Insurance Nerds publishes. And the really cool thing is that it is not written by any of us. We have a brand new author who has written a few guest posts and has made an appearance on the podcast in the past. So I'll be curious to see if anyone in the audience can guess who it is that's writing our next book. And if you have any thoughts on what topic he might be covering, there's a hint. It is a he, but that's coming out soon, and we're super excited about it.
We should do like either a Twitter or LinkedIn poll or something, and whoever, short window of time, whoever guesses it right gets a free copy of the book. Something like that.
Yeah. I like that. Definitely.
Carly, what's big and important about what you just described is what a lot of listeners may not know is that because of the experience that you guys have publishing a bestseller insurance book, you guys know how to publish, and I think that's very important for the listeners to know. So, where do you think we might go with this?
Well, I'm hoping this won't be our last book. I'd love to. So one of the things we talked about a lot, and that's directly related to the generational crisis, is how much knowledge is going to be walking out the door. So one way that we can capture a lot of that knowledge and experience is by generating more, even possibly memoir-style books or technical books that don't really exist in the insurance space. And we would love to help people work through that process.
I have always found it incredible that there are not more books in our industry. There's very few insurance books. There's books about so many other industries. There's very few insurance books. And for me, the most exciting thing, this book is very, very, very exciting. And I hope that we do this many, many, many more times because it's needed in the industry. But for me, the most exciting thing about 2018 is the sheer amount of projects, the sheer amount of organizations in the industry that are reaching out and creating relationships with us. I mean, it is just nonstop. And I don't know how many names I'm allowed to name. Nick will have to cut things out if I say a name I'm not supposed to say publicly yet.
I have no video editing skills. Entirely. I have no video editing skills.
Can we beep me out?
No, we're editing you on the spot. Talk about projects, not people. Go ahead.
So what it comes down to is in the last few months, in the last 8 weeks especially, we have been reached out, so many different insurance organizations that serve the industry in different ways that have been around for a long time have reached out to us, and we are starting to work together in different ways. And it really feels like we've arrived. It really feels like exactly like Nick said, from beginning to end of 2017, it's night and day. And at the beginning of 2017, nobody knew who we were. And at the beginning of 2018, a lot of people know who we are, and they're reaching out and letting us know that they want to work with us in different ways. And that is just incredible because that really helps us spread the message further and further. And it's a really exciting time here at Insurance Nerds. And also, 2017, as a direct result of our success with the book, I ended up, as most people know, in a new day job with Jacobson Group. And the fact, just being able to say the name of the company on the podcast and on Insurance Nerds is incredible, because before I couldn't do that, right? I had two lives that were very separate from each other, and I had to keep very separate from each other. And now my life has really kind of come together, and my day job and my passion project now work together really well, and that's really exciting. So yeah, 2018 is a whole different ball of wax in my, on my side.
Yeah. I think the book is huge. Getting into publishing, Carly nailed it. We have so much wisdom walking out the door. We have to capture it. Tony, you're right as well. Go to Amazon, Google insurance books. It's terrible. It's atrocious. I mean, if you want a textbook, you can find that for $150. But there are no good insurance. So actually, the best ones I've actually ever seen were the ones on adjusting. Adjusters who wrote stories about adjusting. Those are the best ones. But that's just a part of the industry, not the other areas. So for us to get into that is when we got the opportunity, we we jumped at it. I hope we can do a lot more with that. I hope from what Carly said, we can catch this wisdom, get it into a book, and get it out to an audience that's hungry for it.
I've collected insurance books for years, and there's just very, very few of them, and a lot of them are not in print anymore. And some of the best ones haven't been updated since like the 80s and 90s. There's just not a lot, and it's crazy because if you go to your local Barnes and Noble, if such a thing still exists, if you go to the business section, there's books on everything else. Right?
Banking,
why are they knowing
banking,
books?
Financing, trading,
real estate,
of
right?
other
Real estate books.
Every time I fill out something online, it always asks me what my occupation is. There's never insurance. I always have to put, finance, accounting, other professional. Yeah. So yeah, there aren't those books. I think there's a need. I think there's a need to get the exciting elements of it, the dramatic part of it. It is a fairly boring, stodgy industry, but there's some drama. There's some excitement. Yes, Carly?
It's all about people. It's entirely about people.
Exactly.
So if you like people and like helping them and serving them, you're not going to be bored. There's lots of intellectual challenge. There's lots of opportunity to build strong relationships. Culturally, we're working to change that. And I think there are a lot of companies that are open to that change, and it's improved since Tony and I met. What was that, 6 years ago? It's improved greatly. I can't begin to explain it. And as you were talking, I was thinking about a conversation that we had going in our Slack channel, and someone used the phrase career destination. I've written before about we need to make insurance an industry of choice, but I like career destination even more. This is something we should be having people drive towards and end up, because it is rewarding and has the qualities that you want in a career. And we just haven't painted that picture. I think books and memoirs can help with that.
There was, I agree with everything you're saying, but there was a moment in 2017 that was huge for me, and I don't even know if I discussed it with you. The first time I got a call on chatwithtony.com, and when I called him, he said that he was looking for an insurance role, and I looked at his resume, and he had never worked in insurance. He had not. He didn't have a risk management major. So I'm like, do your parents work in insurance? No. Why are you interested in insurance? And he said, I graduated from college a year ago. I've been traveling around, and it's time to go back to the States and get a real job. And I found, Googling about interesting jobs, I found insurance nerds. And that's why I decided that I want to work in insurance. It was incredible. It was the first documented case of somebody that we literally brought into the industry because of what we do. And he's now working in the industry, and we're good friends now.
We met him at the Columbus meetup, and he was
exactly
happy and was working and
exactly.
Yeah.
And he's a proof of concept, and I think I'm going to be talking about his story for a long time. And as he grows in the industry, and he doesn't have a great job, I'll be honest, right? He works in a call center right now. That's where we managed to get him into. But the difference between him and the other call center people is that he has a plan. He knows where he's going. He knows what he wants to do in the industry. He knows how to get there. Yeah, he gets frustrated, and I have to talk him off the ledge every once in a while. But he has a plan, and he has a roadmap, and that is what we can provide. Is not only to bring people in, but give them the roadmap to grow, and that is just so exciting to me.
Okay, well, so we talked about the books. We're publishing. We're a publisher now. I like that.
We have been since June.
Yeah, well, that was. I think folks could look at that and say, well, that's your book, not the same. Now we're publishing other people's books. I think we're officially. In our title, we can call ourselves, publisher. You can wear your Superman shirt with a little
it's
tag.
Not on the presses yet. Let's not jinx it.
That's true.
Throw that out.
That's true.
Legally,
realist, but we'll get there. a month or
legally,
so, and you can say it.
Legally, we are a tiny publisher, and according to our insurance carrier that writes our insurance, we are a publisher. A publisher that has a blog and a podcast.
There you go. We have E&O exposure. So, Carly, we're a publisher, whether this book comes out or not. To me, I think critical to 2018 is video. You're watching this video. If you're listening to this on the podcast, get on YouTube. We're going to be putting all of our podcasts on YouTube and all of our videos. I think video is going to be very important. Not just so you can see how gray my beard is growing and how much Carly's going to have the illustrator darken this up a little bit. Not that part of it. But I think where this leads to, I think is critical. It leads to education. It leads to us being able to interact with you in a way that's going to be more intimate. I think that to me, that's going to be huge.
I thought the idea of going with video was so people could see Tony smile without the braces.
Oh,
I forgot.
I didn't even notice.
I'm so oblivious.
That's fantastic.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Great.
Yeah, so everybody know, we were ready to do video like a year ago. I sabotaged it for a year so that I wouldn't appear with my braces.
That's great.
That Tony kind of looks like a grown-up, so that's good.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
fantastic.
You.
So now we can. Now it's safe to do video.
I gotta agree with you. Video is a much more engaging platform, and video. I find it with myself. I go look at new websites, especially for new products, and if they don't have an engaging video, I'm too lazy to actually read the description. So a video is an important next step for us, and it allows us to do. It will allow us, as Nick gets good with video, at doing things that we couldn't do before.
Yeah, I'm finding some interesting apps on my iPad. So I specifically purchased the iPad to do Khan Academy-ish video, and I have not used my iPad to do anything like that. I just listen to music and take some notes on it. So the educational piece is very important. And for those of you that are familiar with Khan Academy, my first video project besides these podcasts will be to do one on like deductibles or co-insurance, little 10-minute clips. So rather than read a blog, we'll go into something a little bit more detail. So to me, it's video. The publishing, the video, that kind of thing is going to make 2018 gigantic. So
I agree.
I mean, we like always, we can stand on the shoulders of giants. And Ryan Hanley and his team at Trusted Choice have shown us that video makes perfect sense for insurance content. And then, they have 100 times the budget we do, but for now, but they've really shown us how it can be done well.
Yeah.
And I think that we can learn a lot from what they've done.
I have to learn how to be as charming as Ryan. So the podcasts have helped. I feel like I'm a little bit better speaker and interviewer, but it'll be hard to do what he does. But that's definitely the direction we're going in.
Nick, it's got to be said, you have become a fantastic interviewer. I love how at the end of it, I love how you lead the interviews, and at the end, how you manage to weave in both productivity tools and career advice, because I think that hits both sides of the audience, right? It hits the executives, it hits the entrepreneurs, and it also hits just the young insurance professionals. You've become fantastic at interviewing, and clearly practice makes perfect. So that's one of the reasons that I want to appear on the podcast more often this year.
You call it practice. I call it good audio editing.
You become a good editor. That's the other thing.
Well, I got a little note from my niece who's helping me edit some of these files, and she'll tell me when, this one was kind of difficult, and she'll say, Uncle Nick, you especially. So
Your bill is 3 times normal because I have to spend 3 times as much time.
Yeah, kind of
feedback
like
is a gift.
Yeah.
We're lucky. Yeah.
Okay, well, we talked about 2017. We talked about 2018. We'll be in San Antonio in a couple weeks. And so happy anniversary. This is our anniversary special. Any parting thoughts, Tony, Carly?
I had no clue the first time that we chatted about this. So I had met Nick ahead of time. Carly had not. And then when Nick called in and said he wanted to chat with us, and we chatted in private, and Nick said, "You guys need a podcast," and we said, "Yes, we do, and we have no idea how to do it." And he took the challenge of doing it, even though he had never done it before. I had no idea that the podcast would be this popular. Everywhere I go, people tell me that they love the podcast. It's been a huge reason that Insurance Nerds has grown so fast, and it's been a huge reason that the book sold so well. So the synergy that we gained from the podcast is just amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Basically, the podcast is fantastic, and it's just incredible. Everywhere and almost every day, I get messages telling me that the podcast is awesome.
I think I have one closing thought coming off of what Tony just said, which is we're very grateful for all the comments we get, especially if you reach out on LinkedIn or send us an email. We are still thrilled to hear from anyone who's listening or reading. Tony mentioned earlier that we're doing this basically duct taped in a dream. We're still pretty much in that spot. So the feedback is what keeps us going, I think, from day to day. So if you are listening and you want to share the love, we would appreciate it. Share it with your friends. Reach out to us. Anything you have to say, we're open to listening.
A review on iTunes is highly, highly appreciated. And Carlos is absolutely right. I tell us all the time when they send in messages, every message that we get letting us know that this makes a difference in people's lives, it keeps us going for weeks. So keep those coming. They're really, really appreciated. Let us know what you want to see in the podcast. Let us know what you want to see on the website. I know my famous closing line, we've come a long way, but we're just getting started.
Hey, you know, I love that. I love when I have folks all the time send me emails and say, "Hey, I know someone that would be great for the podcast." All the time I'll say, "Great, connect me. If it makes sense, we'll do it." I had someone who tried to connect me. That hasn't worked out, but I interviewed him. He's coming up Monday. So Insurance Careers Month, I have Cooper Cohen, who's a young underwriter, and I wanted to get a millennial feel. That's going to be one of our better ones, I think. That was even my niece said. Even my niece said she listened to that and she got excited about insurance listening to Cooper. So that, like, to me, you know, you guys nailed it. I love the feedback, even the negative feedback, and we need to hear it because we don't exactly know. You know, what's right and what's wrong. We hacked it to start and we're still kind of hacking it. I think we're getting from your feedback, we're getting a good feel, but now we're available on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube,
Facebook.
iTunes, Facebook. So whatever medium you need, connect with us, give us that feedback, comment, interact with us. We're very appreciative of that, and I'm very appreciative of you too. Thank you for spending an hour or so with me on video and getting your braces off, Tony.
Thank you, Nick. Have a good night.
Thank you, Nick. Keep doing what you do. We couldn't do what we do without the podcast, and
vice versa.
You make it look easy. I know that it's a lot of work, but you make it look easy, and it's work that we couldn't do without you.
I appreciate that. Okay, everyone. Take care.